Hello, hello, hello. Today we have another review. It's Slinky Dog time. So, for those of you who are new here, my name's Ginger Bricks, aka Courtney, and today we're going to review the brand new Toy Story Slinky Dog. For those of you who are obsessed with bookends, like I have recently found myself, this is a great addition to add to your collection. Let's dive in. So, we have our friend Slinky Dog here. This was a really creative build. I really enjoyed some of the way that they made this come together. There's a few little Technic pieces in it, but nothing that's too scary or too crazy. Once you get Slinky totally assembled, you have several different options on how you'd like to display it. I have the bookend version, Slinky holding up the books put together. There's a few little secrets that these books hold. I personally like to include the pop out of Woody, like that. He's just hiding out, ready to say hello. I also think that you have to include my very favorite part of this entire build, which is moving that down, popping out. Look at Slinky! Look at that cute little minifig. I have to take him out just so you can see him, because this little Slinky is quite perfect. Look at him. He's even flexible. He's perfect. Love him. This is how I actually like to display it. There is another couple configurations that you can do, up to you how you decide to do that, but this is how I personally like it. It showcases all of the different parts. I like that it actually shows the secret that's in there, because otherwise it does have a little bit of a boring look to me. And of course, the minifig is my favorite thing of this entire set, so I want everybody to see little Slinky. It also makes Slinky Dog be its own separate part. Each part of Slinky is attached to that book just with a Technic piece, and it slides on, so you just have to click it the opposite way and you can pull it out, and you can see inside there are those Technic rods. The first thing I will say that is a little challenging with Slinky is his front paws. So in order to make them more opposable and bendy, which I love, it makes him super unstable because of how the weight distributes. Once you actually connect these pieces, I do often find that Slinky can't hold weight on the front paws and kind of falls down like that. So you do have to get the legs like in the exact right position in order to hold him up. So that was kind of a bummer. The set does come with 2 books. It wouldn't be a bookend if it didn't have some sort of book that went with it. These are an homage to some of the early Pixar works. This book is kind of perfection. It looks like a book, the dimensions of it are great, and this is just a really cute little feature in order to have that. In general, you are kind of just building a brick, so this build itself is nothing that is super exciting to do, but it does end up with a really nice finished product that I enjoy. And again, being able to display Slinky out, you can still see what the name of the book is, and so I do really like how this book ended up. But again, don't expect any like marvelous time necessarily with this part of the build. The thing I will say, as that brick just kind of pops off, is the edges that we have going on here for this base of the book. I feel like we could have done something a little bit different, because these are just one single piece that goes in there. It's only connected by 2 studs. So it has that great illusion of being a book filled with pages, but it's really easy to pop these pieces off. So you do have to be really careful. And honestly, this is a great display piece. I don't know that it's a great play piece. So I know with the price tag, for the most part, it's probably going to be adults that are grabbing this, but just know that it is a little on the flimsy side, unfortunately. The book itself is solid, like there's nothing I can do to this, but there's so many little pieces that are just these little they're just hanging on by 2 little things. They pop off very easily. Overall though, I like this book, except for that, which happens often. Let's take a look at this thing. It's a very awkward shape. It doesn't really look like a book because of its height. The width is way too small. And one of the ways I had seen that Lego had potentially intended you to display is to put the books kind of like this, which doesn't, one, there's not a way to attach it so they just slide on each other, but also with the size of this one not being very wide, if you do stack them, the blue one hangs over, or if you do try to make it like that, it's just gonna fall off. So, in terms of this looking like a book, not really. This one does, however, it holds together much better than this guy. As you're turning it, that's where Woody comes out. It says hello. Very cute little feature. The other side has a panel that if you kind of lift up and out, will show you the inside. Now this is a really cute setup and display in terms of trying to make building this book a little more interesting. We have Woody and then an homage to many of the Toy Story characters in the little peg form. So my favorite is probably Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head and the aliens and the pizza box, because who doesn't love pizza? You can see the pizza box a little better when Woody pops out to say hello. The other thing that is nice about this is there is this piece right here that actually holds those pieces together for Slinky. So if you want Slinky to be a full-fledged Slinky dog, you have pieces that have a space to go in, so that if you want to keep them as bookends, you know you're not going to lose those pieces because they're small. Let's put Slinky together. It's a little challenging sometimes to put together because of the weight distribution and the flexibility that his legs offer. So I suggest putting in one peg at the bottom and one peg at the top before you actually try to slide them together. So again, you'll just line up those pieces. I put it on the table, and then you just kind of slide it to make it connect. Now you have Slinky dog. The ability that we have in Slinky is great. Love his little tail. Everything about this screams and moves like a Slinky. So I really do like that. Let's talk about his face a little bit. I actually really like that it's kind of a bobblehead and it kind of moves around like a crazy thing. When his mouth is closed, he looks a little weird to me. So I do like to have his, that does automatically, it changes the way that he looks. I don't know if it does for you, but it does for me. I will say the eyes. I think this is what has been bothering a lot of us when we say that he looks a little weird. His eyes are just a little too close together. If you take a look at his minifig, clearly this is a smaller version, but his eyes have more of a gap between them, and this looks a lot more like Slinky. So honestly, some of the strangeness of the face is just if they just kind of would have separated those eyes out just a little bit more, I think they would have really captured this. What I struggle with are these front legs. So in theory, they're very cute. They move around. I love how much you can move them around. The problem is his head and his body and the fact that you can move him around does not make him very stable. So when you set him down, he does that a lot. It's just kind of a weight distribution. I mean, physics are a thing that you have to make sure you set him up right or he falls over. Kind of a bummer. I typically actually ended up displaying the whole book pieces together because I found that to be the most sturdy and stable way for him to stand. Just keeps falling. Once he's put together, he's fine. But when you're doing any of the manipulation, it can be a little rough. Again, the nice part is these pieces can go in here. So they have a nice little holder. To piece everything back together. Take that. Again, little Technic pieces. come over here to the side and just push it. So attaching him to the book and unattaching from the book, easy peasy. And again. So the good and bad thing is these parts are independent, so you can spread them out a little bit. And again, I'm telling you, every time I touch it, it falls apart. And while I was holding it, because it's just these one sides, that part fell off. So I do find myself getting super frustrated with this piece sometimes. Once we have our friend together, I'm going to give the creativity on this one like a 7 or 8. I really like the way that they incorporated the pegs into making little army men, Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head and Bo and Buzz, and making sure that the gang is all represented in some way. And I really appreciate the creativity to make the Slinky. Slinky minifig, I love. Perfect. The build. The build itself, I would give like a 6. I found it interesting enough. There was a lot of interesting pieces, like when you're putting together the Slinky, his little ears are really cute, and kind of putting it together. I did find myself getting kind of bored doing the books, which is a large part of it, and I really dislike how flimsy a lot of it is, which is a bummer because I love Toy Story and I was really looking forward to this set. So overall, unfortunately, I'm going to give this build a 6, which really bums me out. I was super looking forward to it. I love Toy Story. It's one of the best Pixar films ever. And I really wanted to love this. But just the amount of times things fall apart, and just there wasn't anything overly exciting about building it for the most part. There were parts. Building Slinky, which honestly is only like less than a third, maybe a quarter of the build. Having the books have some little secret pop-outs, that was really helpful. But overall, I don't know that I'm going to highly recommend you get it yet. For the price point at $150, it's pretty high. And honestly, I think this is one of those sets that is going to go on sale at some point, if not pretty quickly, because unfortunately the minifig, the Slinky Dog minifig, is great, and you're gonna, if you're a minifig person or a Disney person, you're gonna want that minifig at some point. But just the overall purchase for $150 for the minifig, I can't recommend it just yet. Wait and see is what I would say for this one. Let me know what you think.